Let's start. I have improved my habits to a higher level than I ever have done before, but I still want to carry on doing this. And in having these motives, I found a video that spoke about a woman going through an unhealthy cycle of binge eating. I'll put an overlay here to show what I'm talking about now. One of the main ideas that she addressed in the video was the fact that this woman was putting herself through a cycle that was a recipe for her, rather ironically, for her to binge eat and carry on binge eating. Her mindset and her actions created a cycle. And after watching this video, I wondered if I was doing something similar. I don't have a binge eating disorder. But if I do allow myself to, I can overeat. If I follow my impulses, I can overeat. And this, very basically, watching this video has been the thing that has meant I've started to change how I think about habits. I believe I'm now starting to think about habits more deeply than I ever have done before. Because I could say, in the past, I'd probably say that I'd want to change how I go about life, maybe, but I won't go into extremely deep detail into how I do that through this very specific route of changing your habits via changing the cycles that you put yourself in. I may have said that I'd want to change my habits, but I wouldn't think down this route of cycles, which I'm now thinking down because of the video. I'm now thinking through this route because I do believe that there's quite a lot of truth in it. That habits are enabled through actions that are carried out in a cycle, a set of actions that are carried out in a cycle. Like a diagram that she showed in the video, which I'll put an overlay for now. So the lady that was making the video was describing her thoughts on the cycle that the lady that she was talking about was going through with her binge eating. And I was wondering if I do a similar thing with routine, for example. For years, I've been wanting to not mindlessly consume YouTube, but I actually think that could have been a part of the issue. That could have been a major part of the issue. I remember that I tell myself, oh, I don't want to do it. When am I going to stop? I have those sorts of thoughts. My parents would tell me, well, you need to stop that. That didn't help. But in their defense, I might not have told them that wasn't helpful. But at that time, I eventually said, not word for word, but I eventually said that, how many times have you said you need to stop and that didn't work? And then mum said, well, have you stopped? I don't think they got the point. And to be fair, they don't really need to go out of their way to try and do things at work. That's my responsibility. If those sorts of things, I've got to take them into my own hands. And that's what I'm doing right now, even with making this video. But anyway, going back to the YouTube thing, I think a major part of that cycle that I didn't want to go down rationally was the fact that I may have actually built up a sense of shame in not doing it, and potentially making it taboo in my mind that you can't do that, rather than looking at my impulses to watch YouTube in at least a more non-judgmental way. And I've started thinking that the way how I could break that cycle and create a healthier one is to not shame the impulse, but to instead understand that it actually is okay to have impulsive thoughts, and that if you act on them from time to time, fair enough. I have to remember that acting on my impulses is a habit that I've built up, and a habit that I'm going out of my way to understand from a more non-judgmental perspective, because I know that would help me further progress in my life by further understanding me and how this works. So instead of responding to that impulsive thought to watch YouTube with shame, it'd be more mentally healthy for me if I look at such things from a more non-judgmental point of view, by understanding that it is okay to have an impulse. That's fine, that's normal, and it is okay to act on them every once in a while. We're not perfect. It's gonna happen. We're gonna do it sometimes as we go along the journey. It's going to happen. As long as we're allowing ourselves to become more self-aware that the impulse is there and that we don't have to act on them, and understanding why we don't want to act on them, is at least one of the things that will allow us to progress in the direction that we actually do want. However, it isn't okay to understand that the impulse is there, but to keep on acting on that impulse that you don't want to act on, time and time and time and time again, and purposefully not going out of your way to change. Very basically, just allowing yourself to be mentally weak and to give into impulses, that isn't okay. Basically, just to allow yourself to rot. No. understanding the cycles that we don't want to go through, and understanding how we not even necessarily break them, but change them to cycles that we do want to go through. Maybe within how we respond to an impulsive thought, or whatever it may be. It may be within that. Will you go through the cycle of being ashamed that you had that impulsive thought? Or will you go through at least more non-judgmental? Or will you go at that impulsive thought from a more non-judgmental point of view? Sorry. When I say you, I'm not talking to you as an individual. I'm just using that figuratively, you could say. Speaking very generally, basically. That's what I mean. I'm starting to go out of my way to think about the the cycles that I'd put myself through in the morning routine, afternoon routine, and evening routine. What would I do that mean I get up late and I wake up late? What is it that I'm doing in the mornings, the afternoons, the evenings that mean that I'm doing this every single day? What is it? What cycles am I putting myself through? What are the individual acts within those routines that mean that I'm doing that every single day? What is it? Well, one of the main things that I think of very specifically for during the evenings is having technology in the room. For example, my phone, my laptop, and the chargers that come with it. This would be a cue for me in the morning when I wake up to go on the phone, because it'd be right there, literally right next to me sometimes. The cable's long, so I can literally put the cable right beside the bed. And then in the morning, based off that, I may go on the phone because I see it there, and then go on YouTube. I wouldn't usually check notifications first thing in the far past, but I might have done for the past, I don't know, maybe a couple of days or so, but yeah. I obviously do look a bit different. I've just had a break. I said, I just wanted to shave. I just wanted to shave here, but that was it. I in fact trimmed my hair, the front and the back, the top line and the back of my head, then also shaved my armpits, and also grew my pubic hair as well. Well, just trim them. I did everything. I didn't expect it to be like that, but hey, there you go. At least I don't mind that I followed the impulses for me to do that, because it means that I've maintained the whole body. Not only that, but elbows aren't looking ashy either. Come on, taking more care of my body. Anyway, I've actually forgot what I was saying. I do actually have one extra thing to say now that I wouldn't have had before, and it's this. Now that I'm looking at my these sorts of impulsive thoughts from a more non-judgmental point of view, they don't actually hold as much weight. I've just noticed I had YouTube up because I was getting the overlays together, and it was just so easy for me to just swipe off. I'm not adding, I'm not making myself feel stressed out from having from placing the taboo on these sorts of things. On, if I'm speaking very generally here, things that, rationally speaking, I don't want to do. I'm starting to understand that responding to impulsive thoughts that way leads me down a path that I don't want to go. And if I allowed myself to go down that path over and over and over again, that could actually lead to a dark place. And I'm not kidding. Because acting on those impulses and feeling shame that I've done that could then lead to me feeling ashamed of myself. For example, looking at myself in the mirror and then just one thing leading on onto another in that direction, basically. And then I could therefore have dark thoughts due to just not taking care of myself. Almost treating myself like I'm my own enemy. There is that phrase, you're your worst enemy. But I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that phrase. How is that healthy to consider yourself your own worst enemy? Of course, with like fighting games, for example, you fight the enemy, you kill the enemy. I'm not saying that with this sort of mentality, you therefore want to kill yourself. No, not necessarily. But what I am saying is you go against the enemy, you fight against the enemy. And with that way of thinking, if you do that with an enemy, that would also mean that seeing as you see yourself as an enemy, you're then going out of your way to fight yourself. By making yourself feel shame to having impulsive thoughts. It is okay to have them, but I personally think it's just not okay to act on them again and again and again. And to not go out of your way to change how you go about life and basically go out of your way to open your eyes. Basically not go out of your way to open your eyes on how you work mentally, at least mentally. Some people just don't have as much of an interest for taking care of their health as I do. That's unfortunate for them, but that's just how it is, and that's how it always will be. So, yeah, very, very basically, it's getting easier for me to live how I want to live because I'm no longer placing, I know not to place a taboo on things that I don't want to do in the form of making myself feel shame that I've done, that I've had a thought, not even acted on it, but that I've had a thought related to it. Or after doing it long enough, saying, oh, I need to stop. I want to stop watching YouTube. I remember doing that. I remember having a memory of me saying, I want to stop watching YouTube. That was very vivid during A-level times maybe. And I went about no longer watching YouTube in a unsustainable way, just going cold turkey. That didn't work, only lasted 4 days. Just saying I no longer want to watch YouTube, actually, it didn't actually take my health into account. It was just something that I wanted to do. I say that I don't want to watch YouTube anymore, but I wouldn't actually explain why back then I wasn't taking my health into account. During school times, I could understand that it'd be harder it may be more challenging to do so, / you may have less of a stimulus to do so because of school, because you're learning all of these subjects. because you're learning all of these subjects, I should say. Yeah. And because you'd be putting so much brain power into them, that then leaves very little to no room for taking your health into consideration. But the schools aren't going to care for your health because it's not their responsibility to. People who work there, as far as I'm concerned, they're more so just interested in having the money come in to be able to provide for their family. Let's be honest, would at least most teachers do what they're doing if money wasn't involved? I'm not so sure about that. Hey, maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't. And I know that I'm not going to go out of my way to do things that I wouldn't do if there was no money involved. No. I have my priorities straight. My health comes first. I'm not willing to do things that are against my morals just for the sake of financial gain. Money that would come and go anyway. Money that flows in and out. Money that just exchanges hands. But these sorts of people, we have to remember, they might actually have an emotional attachment to money. They might not have their finances together, regardless of how it may seem, seeing as they're more so mentor figures, seeing as they're teaching you. These people, I can't say I've ever seen one in shape teacher before. One extremely in shape teacher. Not excessively, not to an unhealthy standard, not to an unhealthy point, but genuinely healthy. They are doing what they want to do. They're living how they want to live. I can't say I've really seen that. Not even in the PE teachers. Some of the coaches actually had very high body fat percentages. Unhealthily high body fat percentages. What are the odds that they even know about their bodies? What are the odds that they know what their body fat percentages are? What are the odds that they know how much what are the odds that they know about their visceral fat? How much fat they have around their organs? What are the odds that they know what their BMI is like? Rather ironically, these people could actually be uneducated about themselves and about the state of their health. I was thinking of going back to the topic of the video now, I was thinking of making just a group of cycles that I could be going through. That means I'm going about my days in a way that I'm not considering ideal. I might do that in the evening. It's not like I won't have time to think, because I won't be on the phone. I'll have the phone out of the room. I know that's a part of the cycle. Very specifically in the evening, that means I get up late and I wake up late. I'm not doing that anymore, man. I'll sleep early and get up early. I deserve it. After all of this effort that I've put into not only this journey, but outside of the channel, I believe I deserve it. I believe I deserve to live a lifestyle that I truthfully want to live and put on some muscle. Hell yeah. I mean, look at these arms. that'll soon change, trust me. The way I'm eating could help with me bulking up and putting on more muscle, but I'm just not seeing the change all that quickly. I'd say that I've put on significant size in my arms over the year, but that's it really. By year 2, it certainly would have got even further. Just looking to keep on going that way really. I eventually will do what it takes to really bulk up and put on some size. When I do that, there's no going back. My default physique is going to be a lot more muscular than what it is now. And I don't mind that. I don't mind not turning back because I don't like how I'm living with this sort of physique. My self-esteem is in a much healthier place now that I believe that I'm more mentally stable. I truthfully, wholeheartedly believe that I'm more mentally stable. My self-esteem is at a much healthier place, but I want more still. I want to be able to look in the mirror and see a strong man. And one of the main ways that I plan to get that is by putting on size in a healthy and a sustainable way. Something that will last for the rest of my life. Because this is a lifelong journey. It's something that I want to maintain and keep. I've been wanting to earn my keep. What I consider is worth having. This is something that I've been saying to myself for a while now. And I plan to get it. And I plan to allow myself to become more self-reliant and progress. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy seeing, and I enjoy not only being able to see myself do things I once couldn't do, but actually doing those things I once couldn't do, and seeing myself progress in the way I want. Me wanting to put on muscle could be because I've seen so many fitness photos of men that are in shape and that look really big. But I've got to remember that we don't know if they've actually taken their health into account. It's just a photo. We don't know what their motives are. They might not actually be, those photos might not actually be promoting health. They might actually be just promoting aesthetics more than anything, without there being anything more than that, without there being much substance to it, like how Growth Through Calisthenics was saying in one of his most recent live streams, you've been groomed to be mediocre, in reference to optics. I think he's referring to views. If it looks alright and it gets many views, then that's great, but these videos, they might not actually have much substance to them, and he might actually be onto something. I'm thinking of a cooking video by Doobie Dobap, I think her channel's name is, and it's just her like making some garlic fried chicken, I think she called it, and it's got, although it does have millions of views, there isn't much to it. There isn't much substance to it. It's just a short. There's no deep message behind it, and to be fair, it's a cooking video, and we don't know what her motives are. She might not actually be wanting to create. She might not have been wanted to create something deep and meaningful out of that video. That's not a problem, but I'm just saying that it just is, and that These are just things that I have to remember. Things, shallow pieces of work, things that don't have deep meaning behind them, might be the things that get the most rewarded over here on YouTube, because of them being able to bring in views. Things that don't have much substance to them, mentally speaking, could promote low brain activity, and then you just go from one video to another, and then to another and to another, and those shorts help with that. And that would be important to YouTube, because then that means that you're on it for longer, increasing watch time basically. And for them, that means increased likelihood of more profit through the person being on for longer, and therefore being able to show more ads. I don't want that, personally. I want this to be, this very channel specifically, to be an advert-free place where there is a genuine message behind it and there's no money involved. Let's actually practice some self-control. That's not a passive-aggressive comment to people who do monetize the videos they make, but it's my reasoning as to why I don't want to monetize this channel's content. Videos. We don't need to use fancy words. Just call them videos. That's what they are. Yeah, I don't want to do it. I want this place to be a place where morals, honesty, and integrity, and health, that it comes over money. This is just a place that I want to lay down my honesty, and I have no intentions of letting or basically allow myself to go about things in a way that's against my morals or code, or just against how I'd want to go about things, because that could potentially mean one of the videos get demonetized. Nope. I don't want to build my financial stability. I don't want to allow myself to become more financially stable based off this. I don't want this channel to help me with that. Because if I do, I might not actually be speaking freely. I might have actually taken freedom away from myself for the sake of financial gain, in the form of not saying what I truthfully want to say. Or through saying through not saying what I truthfully want to say for the sake of money. I don't want that, man. I sense that I'm not talking about cycles anymore at all. As for the money thing, I'll have money coming in elsewhere, man. It's not a problem. It's not a problem anymore. I've emotionally detached myself from money. I used to make myself feel so much stress from it. But no more, man. No more. That just was basically provoking mental instability. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't have to worry. I've got enough to get me through before getting a gym instructor job. I don't have to worry. I'll be fine. I'll be okay. This period of time when no money's coming in has actually been very helpful for me, because I've been able to get my priorities straight and understand that I'm not going to put myself in mental slavery through doing anything for money that I wouldn't do if there was no money involved. No. I will not live with that lack of integrity. Not sticking to how I want to do things truthfully just for the sake of money. Or not doing what I want to do. Not doing what I truthfully want to do for the sake of money. I'd have to live with that for the rest of my life. The money that I get from the thing that I don't want to be doing, that'd come and go. But the fact that I've done that, that'd stay with me permanently. Always. And although I can work through it, it would never go. It'd be a lesson, a very helpful lesson, but I won't be able to get rid of that period in my life that I did things for money. The money that I get from those things, that'd come and go. But those thoughts that I'd have, remembering all of the times that I did things for money, they'd always be there, permanently, because that'd always be a part of my story and a part of what I did. Oh, maybe that's something that fast laners, people in the fast lane, might not actually understand. That the money you get from doing those things you don't want to do, that comes and goes. But the fact that you've gone out there and potentially risked not only your health and safety, but other people's health and safety, that will be with you forever. Always. Those thoughts, which may have shame attached to them, which may have a lot of pain attached to them, although you can work through these things, they'll always be there. Always. Those memories of all of those things that you've done, they'd always be there. And when I say you, I'm speaking figuratively. I'm not speaking to you. Yeah. I'm done because I'm not talking about cycles anymore. So I'll leave it at that. If I want to make another video about it, I will. But I'm finished for now. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace. If you enjoyed, amazing. If you didn't, hey. If you found something interesting, maybe even valuable from it, then good for you, great. But this is my story, and I'm making the videos that I want to make, even if it means that not as many people are subscribing as they could be. I'm not going aggressive with audience retention for the sake of views. I'd have to live with that for the rest of my life. The viewers that would be watching, they'd come and go. But the fact that I'd be view chasing, I'd have to live with that for the rest of my life. I'm not doing that. I know it's something that I don't want to do. I'm not doing that. Anyway, I'm gone. See you in the next one. Peace.